Well, for many students and teachers, taking classes online has suddenly been sprung on them.
If you were looking for some tips on how to get something out of online education or trying to help your kids with it, we are talking to the experts. Timothy Slecker is the Dean of the School of Education at Edgewood College and joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, so I'm just going to say, as a mom, this whole online business, just trying to keep your student focused is difficult. What kind of tips do you have for all of a sudden the parents, we've become teachers, or at least, teachers' aides, so to speak?
The first tip is to recognize that online learning and normality is not what we're actually looking for at this moment. And so trying to make sure that people have their needs taken care of, is everybody not hungry, making sure that they're ready to go. So I think these are some of the things that we forget, because this isn't a normal online learning situation that we're dealing with. And so making sure that kids are comfortable first with what's going to happen is really important. So setting that stage to understand that what's really important are taking care of issues that deal with expectations and anxiety kids might be having just as they're situating this whole idea of moving to online schooling. I know that's not exactly a tip, but it's really something to keep in mind, to think about what's really important in this moment, and that's keeping the anxiety level of children at a point where if there is an opportunity for learning, it's going to occur when they're not anxious.
So let's say that opportunity arises. What are some do's and don'ts when they sit down at the computer?
Well, I mean, the first thing is that some kids, especially a lot of, might be sitting down with their iPhone, an iPad, and their computer screen in front of them. It's probably a challenge then when they've got multiple screens. And if you look down, and you can see that while they're texting a friend and they're looking at the iPad and they have an online lesson. So you want to limit the number of devices specifically so that they're paying attention to that. The other thing is to pay attention and make sure that the assignments make sense. Sometimes what we're looking at here, understand that teachers themselves have not necessarily prepared for this moment. And so everybody has to take a step back and understand that there's going to be glitches, and that's okay. And so keep your expectations at a point where everybody feels that this is a learning time. Actually, learning to be online is going to be the first thing that we are learning. And so be cautious and don't expect too much, and allow this to evolve as it's going to occur, and allow those glitches to happen without frustration.
I've actually turned my fifth grader into a college student, in the sense that instead of having school from 8 to 3, I'm trying to deal with, looking for those signs of anxiety. And it's like, okay, if we want to do homework at 8 o'clock at night, we'll do homework at 8 o'clock at night. So would this fall along the lines of just following your child and see where they are at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a superb example of what it means to be flexible during this time, because it's not they're not going to school from 8 to 3 now at this point. And so when are the opportunities based on the family needs? Mom and dad are at home, grandparents are at home, people are moving in and out of the house at different times. So the regularity of what typically happens in a K-12 classroom is just not going to be what's happening in your house. And so if homework at 8 o'clock makes sense, then please go for that, because again, reducing the anxiety, making sure that when we're talking about situating kids for the best learning opportunities, it's going to be without that stress and anxiety. So that's a great example right there. So flexibility, making sure that your expectations are in line with the moment that we're actually in. And what's really important here is being flexible and trying to understand how we navigate for the next few weeks, maybe a couple months in this new format. And there's going to be lots of glitches. And so be able to handle that, and again, recognize when the stress level is up to a point where we say it's time to move on and try something else.
We are all learning as we go along in these uncharted times. Timothy, thanks for being with us today. Good information.
Sure. Thank you very much.